Welcome to the Love Life with Lauren podcast with me, your host, Lauren Jobson. I'm excited to bring you practical tips, techniques, and insights on how to improve your daily experiences with your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Enjoy today's episode.
Now, I want to share with you why do we self-sabotage in the first place? So the first reason we sabotage is in our unconscious mind, we have unconscious built up negative emotions from our past, such as anger, fear, hurt, guilt, sadness, still sitting in there that when we think of these events, it's still in our body and we can react and feel these emotions in the present moment. Okay, because we're going to have these emotions in the future. It's just what will happen that will make us feel this way will be less of a reaction because we're going to have all these new resources. So when you resolve these from the past, those things that used to bother you won't bother you in the future. You'll be a new capacitance of yourself. You'll have more capacity to hold your potential, that you will have so many more resources. So when we've got negative emotions from our past built up still inside our body, well, of course, then we're not going to connect so much more with we're not going to connect with our inspiration. We're not going to know what to focus on because we might be caught up in the past and what's happened in the past. And so we're coming into these new tasks and new goals with stuff, with beliefs, or beliefs is another one coming up, right? But the emotions of, I'm angry that other thing didn't work out before. And then you bring anger to this new thing, this is not going to work. Because you can think that your behaviors and results, that your willpower, your thinking can just be so positive. The thing is, the part of you that's actually driving you is your unconscious underneath the water. And if you haven't resolved these emotions from the past, they could be to how you're taking action in your world. All right? And so the second reason are the beliefs, the unconscious limiting beliefs, such as I'm not worthy to have what I want, or I won't have love in the same way if I, maybe make more money than anyone in my family. Maybe I won't have love in the same way. That can be an unconscious limiting belief that someone might have. I won't be safe, scared of criticism and negative people. Now, this here are the three core limiting beliefs that I mentioned before. As you can see, there's a worthiness, there's something about love, and there's something about safety. And fundamentally, we all have these three at different levels according to how much work we've moved through this and worked with our beautiful unconscious minds and rescued any past self that has still felt what they experienced to be true for them. So this is how we work, by the way, is if we don't resolve and save our past selves from those times in the past, it doesn't have to be huge trauma. For some of us, it can be quite traumatic. And for other people, having their past can just have these events where somebody said something to you, or you witnessed people in a certain way in your world, and you might not be aware, but you believe something like, it wouldn't be safe for me to make more money than I need. Or, I wouldn't be loved and accepted if I made more money than other people in my life. Or, maybe I'm not worthy of love or money. There are times in our past where we can take that on as a true belief, and then it sits in the unconscious mind and it's functioning in all ways for you. You're just not aware of it, but that is where sabotage will guide you and show you. If you continue to sabotage yourself, then it's showing you have a limiting belief there. Something about your worthiness, your ability to be loved, and the way that your body will then feel safe. Because the brain, again, is programmed to think that anything scary, like too many emails, could be detrimental to our survival. our brain, our reptilian brain, has not evolved enough for us to know for it to know the difference between real danger or what just feels uncomfortable to the body. So in our busy worlds of so much influence and social media and all the things we need to do because we can work in the evenings and all the rest of it, our body can start to feel like, oh, I'm unsafe. It's like all of these predatory animals are around that could eat me. That's how our body functions and our brain can function. So we've got to address our limiting beliefs from the past because they could be functioning still for you today and sabotaging any efforts that you're endeavoring to make when it comes to your goals and dreams. And so the third reason is what I've touched on, a negative influence of others. Now, they don't have to be negative people in your life. The fact that other people and adults just have different beliefs and values and experiences and different literal like physical genes and influence from their generations, they're going to have an influence on us that is negative in nature simply because we are not them. We are a unique individual and we need to have our own set of values, beliefs, and emotions that are decided by us instead of the repeated patterns of the past and the repeated patterns of the generations. And it's becoming such a thing now. I've been in this industry, as I've said to you, like 22 years. And in the last, say, 7 years, there's been a massive shift where there's like big awakenings happening and people talk about reparenting ourselves, which is really cool. Because in Matrix Therapies, Pip McKay, the creator of Matrix Therapies, I'll talk about Pip again later today. She's been talking about this for decades, and now people are going, oh, we need to reparent ourselves. Well, Pip McKay in Matrix Therapies said, yeah, we need to let go of the influence of our parents simply because they are not us, but they influenced us so deeply growing up. We make sense of the world and how we fit into it according to how we were parented. And it's not about them as people, whether they're positive or negative in nature. It's just that they're going to have different beliefs. For example, for my mum, it was totally cool for her that she didn't work full time and that she didn't even have any ambition to work whilst having us 3 children growing up. Her thing was that she could, do little things if she wanted, like Avon and sell makeup or help people learn English and do all these things if she wanted to, but she didn't have any push or desire to work full time. And so I grew up seeing my dad be the breadwinner and feeling then and having a belief unconsciously that, oh, well, maybe the man should be the breadwinner. And wouldn't it be cool if I can just depend on a man and not have to have income coming in? And I was playing out this in my unconscious mind, but not realizing. And in my timeline, for me and my heart and my soul's calling, I have wanted to have a career and a job that to me is way more than just a job. It's way more to me than work. It's my contribution. It's my my calling. And yet I had this thing of, well, I don't need to make money. I could just rely on my partner. But that was not my pattern. It didn't work for me. And it was a limiting belief and the negative influence of my parents. But I'm not here saying my parents were negative or blaming them. Simply the fact that we create all meaning from people around us, particularly our parents. And we can adopt certain beliefs, then we can rebel things. And sometimes when we rebel, we're still, well, not sometimes, but all the time, if we're rebelling, we're still being influenced by them. We're still not being free to be ourselves completely because there's this need to actually do the opposite, to rebel, right? Then there's parts of us that want to escape, like literally just want to say escape their influence. But again, if you have to escape something, you're still going to kind of be influenced by it energetically in order to escape it. You'll be focused still on what you need to escape. So if we just cut the influence and go, right, that's them, this is me. I don't need to escape anything because I can make my own choices. And I don't need to be influenced by them anymore. Then we don't have to feel like there are parts of us that escape. Like when things get hard, well, then do we escape? It's like, oh, well, my mum didn't have to go through thinking about work and babies at the same time. So maybe I won't, right? Maybe I'll just escape this uncomfortableness. But that's not my journey. That was hers, and that worked for her, and that's totally cool. It doesn't work for me. And chances are the things in the generations that serve them definitely don't serve us, because we're in a different generation. We are in a different environment. We've got many different things in our environment that are completely different to how it was for people back in the day. And thank goodness for the concept of evolution. We are meant to evolve. We are meant to have different patterns of thinking and different ways of being to our parents. Otherwise, we wouldn't evolve. We would just repeat patterns. And talking about the movement of people picking up reparenting, there's definitely been a movement of people picking up this idea of stopping generational trauma. And I love that. And we're like, Pip and I and everyone who's learned matrix therapies are like, yeah, we've been doing this for decades now. Come and join us. We literally have processes that can stop what you're calling generational trauma. And that's super cool. Those are our processes in matrix therapies. One of the key processes in matrix therapies is letting go of the influence of our parents and then of anyone else in our life that was of a significant influence. But we want to do mum and dad first, because even if they weren't our carers when we were children, it's this concept that they made us, and a human being does expect to have the things that we expect from parents, like unconditional love and all the good things, but also things like discipline and structure. There's many things that we expect from our parents, and we want to let go of the negative influence because we are adults now. So in order for us to live in our own power and for us to live in our passion and purpose and to connect with our higher self and our spirit and our heart's desires, we want to cut away other people's influence. And we have this process to do that. And it flushes out the unconscious mind. All of that underneath the water there is fresh. It's like, I can cut the cords. I can see what was theirs, and I can love and respect that. And there are things I don't love and respect too. I have boundaries, and that was not okay, because some of us have really detrimental negative influences in our life, and we want to put a boundary there, and we can truly be free. And so we can adopt, rebel, compensate, escape. I said we can escape. And the fourth one, by the way, is we can compensate. If we don't clear the negative influence of parents, and if we don't clear just even the influence of parents and then significant others, we are reacting to other people around us, and we're forming our identity on the influence of others rather than stepping into our soul, which is the innocent adventurer connecting to our soul, and the magician bringing our soul down into our material world so that we can be in our unconscious mind. We can be in the oracle. So those first three principles, right? In order for us to live them in the light, which I shared with you, instead of the shadow and the sabotage, we need to let go of negative emotions, limiting beliefs, and other people's influence. We're almost done. When you know these things, you can at times still do some sabotage, but at least then you know how to come out of it. You know how to be self-aware, to look at what is it that's creating this sabotage. Is it a fear? Is it a limiting belief that I have? Is it an influence that I haven't yet cleared their influence and cut the cords to their influence? that could be creating this sabotage, and it can help you bring it into the light.
I hope you gained some helpful insight into how you can love yourself even more today to create a life you love. Remember, life is a process and you are in process. So all of your feelings are valid and can lead you to incredible learnings and growth if you only choose to be self-aware and self-accepting, to connect into yourself and listen to that beautiful inner wisdom of yours. Please come over to my socials, including Instagram @LaurenJobson, and to share with me what you learnt from today's episode by commenting on this episode's post. I'd love to connect and hear from you. Subscribe and share the love by sharing this podcast with others. I hope to be in your ears again in the next episode.